Welcome back. As you may have seen on Instagram, I finished my Sew Over It Sewalong jersey skirt, and I am so pleased with the results. So I wanted to hop on here and do a quick pattern review for those of you who may be thinking of trying the skirt, or for those who may never have heard of it and might see this and want to add it to your own collection. So I said earlier this year on my Make 9 2021 that I would be doing this skirt out of a Robert Kaufman butter suede of the colorway Cognac. And I really love this fabric. It's so comfortable and it was really easy to sew with. I wasn't sure how it would be, but it was almost like a Ponte Roma. Very stable, didn't shift a lot when I was sewing it, and it was really simple to finish this make. So the pattern itself has two pieces. You have one piece that is the skirt, and you make two of those, one for the front, one for the back. It's the same piece. And then you have a waistband. So really simple. It was an easy make. For me, the biggest issue was fitting. This is currently the only skirt in my wardrobe. I don't wear skirts, not because I don't like them, but because I found that they never fit me. I had really been wanting a pencil skirt that was made of knit fabric. I had seen several on Pinterest, and I had just started looking at some pattern options when Sew Over It released this as one of their sew along videos. It doesn't have an instruction book that comes with the pattern, so you do need to go to the sew along video. But it also is a less expensive pattern because of that. It's about £3, I think, if you get the PDF version. So I was really excited to try my hand at this and hopefully make a skirt that fit me. When I made it, I did the original stitch and then the try on phase, which she tells you to try it on and check your fit. It was awful. I looked very frumpy. It made me look much heavier than I even am. It made me look dowdy and just kind of aged me a lot. And I didn't like any of those characteristics. I was really frustrated and thought I would have to hop on here and let you guys know that it just didn't work for me and it only works for some body types. So fast forward a week or so, my dear friend sent me a link to an article from Deer and Doe about fitting. She knew that I was about to try a trousers pattern, and actually my next make of my Make 9 2021 is the Sew Over It carry trousers. And so I was really excited to have a look at this article, completely unrelated to my skirt. But as I started reading, it was several options for problems that you have in your fit and how to fix them. One of them was a gaping back, which I had noticed that my skirt was doing by a lot. So I retried my skirt on and it gaped a little over 1.5 inches. And so the solution, according to the Deer and Doe article, was to cinch it in at the sides. So essentially, my hips were the right size, but because it didn't slope enough at the top for my body shape, there was a lot of extra fabric around the waist. So I needed to slope it in more at the waist so that I didn't have a gap in the back. So I decided to give it a try instead of throwing my skirt away. And I decided to, once I measured it, it was about 1.5 inches. I decided to round up to 2 inches since this is stretchy fabric anyway, and just make it 1/2 inch on each side. Obviously, half on 2 pattern pieces, half on 2 pattern pieces, added up to 2 inches. And I tried it on and the fit could not have been more different. I was shocked that such a small amount could change the fit. So what I actually did when I was kind of grading down at the waist, the hips were exactly the right size. And as you'll notice on the pattern piece, there's a line that tells you where your hip line is on your body and on your pattern. So it was, I think, 13.5 centimeters down. So that was the right spot. And so I graded 1/2 inch over and sloped it from the top down to 13.5 so that the rest of it was the same as the pattern pieces. I only needed to take it in at the waist. That was just for me. So I would suggest when you're sewing this, that when you first do just the hemming on the sides, there's a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance as is typical for Sew Over It. Maybe do that in a basting stitch, kind of a really long stitch length, so that when you fit that and you notice what you might need to change, you don't have as much trouble unpicking it, because I did. It was very difficult to get the stitches out of this beautiful fabric. It's just very slinky on the back. It was kind of hard to see the stitches as well because I chose a thread color that matched the back of it. Anyway, just a tip. So once I had fitted it, then I needed to adjust the waistband piece as well. So when you're starting this pattern, again, it doesn't have a pattern booklet, so you're gonna need to watch the video. So just a helpful hint, if you only want to watch that part of the video, you can fast forward to 26 minutes and 30 seconds. The whole first part of the video, Lisa is actually walking through the idea of the pattern as well as cutting her pattern pieces out. And if you just want the instructions, go ahead and fast forward to 26 minutes and 30 seconds. So after I had done the bottom construction, I needed to add my waistband. And what she lets you know in the video is that it is 90% of the top of your skirt pattern. So the waistband is 90% the length of the waist piece of your skirt. So that means it kind of draws it in and like lets it fit well on your waist. So I needed to do a little bit of calculations. I added up what my current waist piece was. Again, I had taken out 2 inches on the side, took out the seam allowance, etc., made it 90%, added the seam allowance back in, and came up with the size that I needed for my waistband. So a little bit of math there. Hope that doesn't scare you off, but it does help you custom fit it to your own shape. And it also meant that it wasn't going to be baggy. Had I used the original waistband piece, it would have just sat on my waist instead of kind of coming in at the waist to hold it on. So this pattern is really simple. It took me longer than it should have because I have an 18-month-old and I don't get as much sewing time as I used to, but it was very simple. But one thing that I noticed when I tried it on, even though it was now fitting just how I wanted it, was that this fabric, if you can tell, I'll hold it up, when you, if you have a seam there, it still is very loopy. It doesn't press very well. It keeps a little bubble there even when you have a seam. And so it looked very amateur when I was done with it. You could see on the bottom that it had that little loop at the bottom hem. All of my side seams were, the seam allowance was kind of mismatched down my leg. It just kind of looked, it was kind of wavy, I guess. I couldn't get it to press no matter what I did. I changed the settings on my iron. I tried it several times with different steam amounts and it just wasn't pressing at all. But I had heard recently on Instagram and a couple of other YouTube videos of something called a tailor's clapper. I had never used one of these. I think Lauren at Guthrie and Ghani was the first one that I had heard use the term. And I guess I thought that you were supposed to hit it on your fabric. I don't know. But I watched a couple of videos and the idea is that you're taking some wood and you're trapping the steam on your fabric so that it keeps it in and gives you a perfect press when you're finished. I thought I might as well try it. I don't have the actual tailor's clapper. So what I did was search in my craft closet and found a little piece of craft wood. I would not recommend this for all of your projects, but I just thought maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I don't want to jump on Etsy and have it wait 2 weeks to ship to me. I thought I'd just use a piece of wood. The results were stunning. I have no idea how people figure these things out and how they knew that that would work. But it went from being loopy, and I'll show you some pictures up here, to perfectly flat as if you had creased a piece of paper. All of my inside seams were now flat, and so they were laying flat on the side of my leg instead of being wavy. The waistband also was crisp and neat, and I just love it. So first of all, I'm gonna need to get myself a tailor's clapper. But for any of you who are having trouble ironing, or you just really like crisp seams, or you have a thicker fabric like a wool or a suiting fabric, or even this, the butter suede, if you want that to have crisp seams, I would definitely recommend investing in a tailor's clapper. So the only thing that I did differently to this pattern, she has you do the waistband and have one of the side seams match up with the seam in the waistband. That seemed strange to me. I don't know, it was just my own choice. I actually put the seam in the back. And then I did it in quarters the way that she has you do it to stretch out your piece to fit inside the waistband. So those are my only notes. I would definitely recommend this pattern. You can do it in several lengths. I kept mine the longest length. It came in that length, and I happen to be 5'4.5". I'm not sure what that is in centimeters, but if that helps you gauge how long it is on me. I think Lisa is 5'6", 5'7", maybe she's said in her videos. So you can look at hers and see how long hers look on her as well. You may need to shorten it. You could also lengthen it. She's done a mini version. She's done the short version that comes with a pattern, and then the longer version, which I really wanted to do, which was just below the knee. So I hope this has inspired you. Hopefully you will get out and make your own Sew Over It jersey skirt. I'm really excited to add this to my wardrobe. Again, it's the only skirt I currently own, and I'm excited to take these things that I've learned from fitting and hopefully make different types of skirts that I can add to my wardrobe as well. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. You'll hear more about my Make 9 2021 challenges and other future sewing adventures. Hope you're doing well. Follow me on Instagram as well if you'd like to, @StitchHazel. Have a great day. Thanks.